with Piers Morgan and Susanna Reid.
Think about that. It's March the 3rd. That's 6 weeks after this all blew up.
It was Bonhomie first, wasn't it? It's all right. I'm going to shake everybody's
I'm shaking my hands with everybody in a coronavirus hospital. That was the Prime Minister of the country, who by that stage had missed 5 Cobra meetings, the meetings of the most powerful group in the country to deal with crises. He'd missed 5 of them to deal with domestic issues relating to the end of his marriage and his engagement and his baby and all the other things that always go around with Boris in his private life. And that's fine, except there was a virus on the rampage. We knew that because we knew from what was happening in China. And throughout February, we did absolutely nothing to prepare this country for what then came. And we learned no lessons. We had the Health Secretary standing up in Parliament. Let's remember this again, 23rd of January. We were aware of this virus, but we were absolutely on top of things. Listen to Matt Hancock. Well, that was another lie. We weren't prepared at all. We couldn't have been less prepared for what was going on, even though in 2016 we'd had a whole 3-day pandemic exercise called Exercise Sickness with all the top people, Public Health England, NHS, the Health Secretary at the time, Jeremy Hunt, who's now the great expert on all the things we should be doing with this pandemic. Why wasn't he asking himself those questions when he was the Health Secretary? Why wasn't he preparing us? Why 10 years of Tory government did we not have any preparation for this, given that in the last, what was the last pandemic in the world? It was the SARS pandemic in 2003. Why didn't we prepare for a bigger version of that? Instead, we prepared for a flu.
Well, one of the explanations is perhaps we were a little bit distracted because 6 months before the outbreak of coronavirus, Boris Johnson scrapped a team of senior ministers charged with preparing the country for a pandemic.
We were distracted by Brexit.
Yeah, the group was suspended by the former Prime Minister Theresa May so that ministers could focus on Brexit. It was abolished completely by Johnson a few days after he entered Downing Street.
I just think that clip of Boris talking about the hand, and then, of course, as countries like Italy were getting overrun around that time, he then decided to let the Cheltenham Festival go ahead. 250,000 people crammed in like sardines. He let Liverpool play Atletico Madrid.
With all the fans coming from Spain.
With 3,000 fans coming from Spain. They weren't allowed to go to their own stadium in Madrid because of the massive coronavirus outbreak, which was killing people all over the place in Madrid. So they couldn't go to their own ground, but they could fly to England and they could fly into Liverpool and go on a 2-day jolly around all the restaurants, bars, go get a bit of horse racing, whatever they wanted to do, then cram in again like sardines to the football. All the time, other countries were locking down all over the world.
And in Italy, as you mentioned, we had those devastating pictures from ICU.
How could we not have watched what happened in Italy?
Now we have those devastating pictures from our ICUs.
But we don't see enough of it, you see. We're only beginning to see a little bit. We don't see enough of this. And if we did, it may just have cracked heads to make better decisions. But people say, why do you give them a hard time, the government? There's people defending them in the papers. It's not their fault. Actually, yes, it is. It is, because we have the worst record in Europe. Why? Why? There's nothing different about us compared to many other places.
Well, Therese Coffey raised the issue that we do have an elderly population, we do have an obesity crisis. Those are 2 factors. But that deflects from the fact that the government could have...
There are other countries with old people and fat people. Trust me. Trust me. Go and ask them. It's utter nonsense. And we're now at this horrific stage of 100,000 deaths. And again, think about this. I said this yesterday. Think about how many people are affected personally and directly by each of those deaths. 100? 200? Do the maths. Work that out. This is tens of millions of people in this country now. Won't, but if he did, my question would be, what are you sorry for? Are you sorry for any of these decisions that you took that went horribly wrong? Or rather, decisions you didn't take at the right time, that you did that and delayed on taking?
Where were the moments where you would have done something differently?
Yeah, are you sorry for any mistakes? We've got Robert Jenrick. He's being wheeled out today. He's the Housing Secretary. So on the day of 100,000 deaths from a killer virus, no Boris Johnson on Good Morning Britain. He hasn't been here for over 3 years. He did everything he thought he could do. That's not enough. And as our viewers are showing, they think he should resign. Maybe he should. Let's do a poll, actually. Let's do a poll. Should Boris Johnson resign? He should win that poll because he got a comfortable majority. I'd be curious how that goes. So let's do a poll.
This morning we are paying tribute to those who have died. That will be coming up a little bit later on. You're watching Good Morning Britain on ITV.